Welcome to Business Ethics Online. My name is Craig Shortland. I'll be your instructor for the next 10 weeks. Business Ethics is a fun class. There's a lot of interesting elements that we'll talk about, a lot of things that we take for granted, a lot of things that we assume, a lot of assumptions that are made. We're going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. Okay. If you're watching the screencast, obviously it was right here. and but I appreciate that you're watching it. If you need to purchase a textbook, it can be done right here. Click this link right here, and you can go straight to the publisher's page. Okay, pick this process. It's $49.95. I think it's $60 if you buy it in the bookstore. But because it's online and because I have students that aren't anywhere near the bookstore, I provide this to them if they need. This is good information. Just read it down to make sure you understand what's going on. Okay. I want to kind of talk about the D2L and what we have. We have our assignments tab here. In that assignments tab, all of your papers when they're due. So they're due. This one's due January the 9th, 11:59 p.m. This one's due June the 9th, June 23rd, 11:59 p.m. So you can see right where it's at. Your current issues paper. Here's all your reading journals. There's no journals due this week, but notice that next week there's 2. And the third week there's 2. And then after that there's only 1. Okay. To cover the material that we have to cover in this class, I had to double up some chapters. So as a result of that, I do the double chapters in the first 3 weeks. So this week we have 2 chapters, chapters 1 and chapters 2. But there's no reading journal due, so there's no reason for it to be there. Okay. So that's important for you to understand what's there with under activities. We also have our discussion threads, and I'm going to talk about these a little bit later. Week 1, we have the bio, and then we have a discussion thread that I've submitted. I want to talk about those because that's the one thing that I have most questions about of anything. Okay, so we'll talk about those in a little bit, and then we also have quizzes. Okay, quizzes are due. So when you see this, this will be an open quiz because it opened at 12:01 this morning, and it will close on Sunday night, the 2nd, at 11:59 p.m. Okay, and we'll talk about that in just a little bit. Over here we have the content. This is the most important page that we have, and I'll explain to you why. First of all the stuff that we need to know. You get your textbook here as well. This is the Bible. Okay, read it. I'm not going to give you a quiz over it because you're an adult now, and I expect that if you're supposed to read it, you'll read it. So you're responsible, and if you don't do what's in it and I dock your grade 10% because you didn't do what I asked you to do, and you come back and say, why did you do this? I'll say, well, obviously you didn't read the syllabus. So read the syllabus so you know what's going on. There is a graded assignment checklist. We'll go over this in just a minute, but every assignment that's due, there's a spot for you to print it out. You can actually just check it off. Makes it real easy. You can't miss an assignment that way. Okay, the course schedule works in line with this. Gives you the details, but it gives you exactly what time it's due, what day it's due, and all that's on here as well. Okay, we have discussion guidelines, we have journal guidelines, we have a current issues paper. And down here, if you're not sure how to cite APA correctly, I've given you a screencast so it shows you how to do it if you're using Word. Okay, so keep that in mind. But I want to look at weekly topics because this is important. Notice week 1, I have a few comments. Here's a reading assignment. This will take you straight to our discussion where you do a biography. Give me a bio about yourself. I ask you the questions. All you got to do is answer the questions, right? This is a regular discussion thread based on the information, I believe, from chapter 2, if I'm not mistaken, 1 or 2, I can't remember. And then there's a quiz. I think this is from chapter 1. There's a quiz on chapter 2. Notice that the quiz ends at 11:59 p.m. on Sunday night. Okay, keep that in mind because if you aren't done by then, you are done by then. Okay. And don't call me and say, can you extend the quiz? Because in the syllabus, the Bible up there, what I talked about earlier, no, I can't extend the quizzes. Get them in on time. Okay, so week 2, here's what we got. We've got a discussion thread. You're going to be the professor. You're going to take something from your journal and you're going to pose a question. I'll talk about that in just a minute. Here's the discussion that I have presented. Okay. Oh, you have a paper that's due, right? So click on it. It's got the assignment attached. You open the assignment, it tells you what you need. Follow the assignment. Okay, all I'm going to do is, one of the worst things that happens is most of my students don't get good grades on these little assignments. They're only a 40-point assignment. They don't get good grades because they don't follow directions. And that's the first thing I'll say. Next time, follow directions. You're going to lose 10% right there if you don't follow directions. Keep it in mind. There's a quiz. Week 3, it tells you, I give you a link to every assignment and everything you have to do every week. All the way through this entire semester, I make it as easy for you as possible. So don't come back and say, I don't know where it's at, because you've now watched this and you see that everything is there. Okay? So please keep that in mind. I know I sound like I'm a real jerk, but I'm a teddy bear at heart, so just keep that. All right, let's look at the syllabus real quick, and then I want to talk about some things that are in the syllabus. Okay? The graded assignment checklist is not in the syllabus, but it is there on the content page. I showed it to you a minute ago. So please make sure that you look at that and follow that carefully. All right, so here's my email address. Here's my cell phone number. Make an appointment with me. I'm available. I do not get online much on Saturday and Sunday. Keep that in mind. If you call or you text, I'll get back with you. It may not be immediately. I have a lot going on the weekends. And with my grandkids living on the same piece of property that I live on, I have a lot of fun with them. So if you have an issue, please speak to me first. If you go to Charlie, he'll say, did you talk to Craig? If you say no, he'll say, well, go talk to Craig. Okay? If you talk to Craig, I have yet in 12 years of teaching ever had any issue that I couldn't resolve with my students. Okay? No need to go there. But if you do need to go there, he's an awesome fella, and he's one of the most fair men I've ever met. So please keep that in mind. All right, so let's go down here. Course textbook is required, is required, is required. Don't get the textbook, you probably won't pass this class. Okay, just saying. So here's competencies. Here's what we're going to cover. It's a general transfer class, so we know that it's going to be transferable. If you have any issues, you can contact these people and they can help you with anything that you might, if needed. Okay. Please note that discussion threads count for 45% of your grade. Okay. If you don't do the discussions, you won't pass the class. If you slack off in the discussions, you won't pass the class. If you blow off the discussions, you definitely won't pass a class. I have yet to ever fail a student, but I have a lot of students who failed themselves. Okay. So keep in mind that if you just do the work and you do it on time, and you give me a mediocre effort, you'll get a B. You give me a good effort, you'll get an A. Okay, yet over half my students do not get A's. Right? I give the opportunity, but you have to take it. So the opportunity's out there. Everybody has the same opportunity. I don't care what your name is, what your background is, anything about you. The opportunity is 100% the same to every student in this class. Okay? So let's focus on getting her done. And if you just do what you're asked to do and you do it on time, you shouldn't have any troubles getting a B. I think you shouldn't have any trouble getting an A in this class. Okay? So keep that in mind. Okay? So we have 2 threads every week. They're graded separately. Okay? So 2 different threads. So when it says a minimum of 4 posts required, that's in each thread, not in the 2 combined. So keep that in mind. There's 10 reading journals. There's 9 quizzes. There's 4 short writing assignments worth 40 each. There's 1 paper, and we'll show you that in a minute. Okay? Here's how the grades go. And notice this. All assignments must be submitted in Doc, DocX, or ODT format only. Okay? Only. The only thing I accept in a PDF is a reading journal. Okay? Do not send me a paper in a PDF. Do not send me a paper in Pages, even though I'm actually doing this on a MacBook. I do not like Pages, won't even open the program. Do not send it in Pages. I'll send it back to you. Okay? Just because the way it is. Okay, moving right along. If you're using a web as a source, whether it be in a short writing assignment, whether it be in a discussion thread, or whether it be in your current issues paper, okay, a full URL must be included. Don't give me just the main web page for the site. When you're on the page, click on the page. So you're on that page. Go up to your URL, click on your URL bar, click on the bar, and it'll highlight your URL that you're on for the page that you're on. Copy and paste that into your works cited. and then that way I'll know. Notice that there is a late work policy. Your short writing assignments are due by 11:59 p.m. on Sunday, okay, in the week that they were assigned. Late assignments will incur 10% loss of points for every 24 hours. Current issue paper, it's due 11:59 p.m. on Sunday, July 14th, okay. It'll incur a 20% loss of points for every 24 hours it's late. Quizzes must be completed by 11:59 p.m. on the date that they're assigned, and that's always on a Sunday is when they close, okay. Missed quizzes cannot be reopened or taken after the deadline, okay. Remember, this is the Bible. Reading journals are due by 11:59 p.m. on Wednesday. You get a 50% loss of points for up to a week. After a week, you didn't read it, probably aren't going to. Discussions open at 12:01 a.m. on Monday. This week on Tuesday. Weeks 2 through 10 on Monday. Close 6 p.m. on Friday. Weeks 2 through 10. To this week, it will close at 6 p.m. on Saturday. Notice, discussion threads are not open on the weekend. You cannot post on the weekends. You can read them, however, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Okay? So, most of your reading is done within the first 3 days of each week. After that, we apply and discuss. Okay? So, here's everything that we need. Here's the course schedule right there. Notice it tells you, okay, your first post in both your threads this week must be due by 11:59 on Thursday. Okay, keep that in mind. 11:59 p.m. on Thursday. Notice this one, 11:59 p.m. on Wednesday. So starting in week 2, they're due on Wednesday. This week only, they're due Thursday. We close on Saturday. The rest of the time, they're due on Wednesday. We close on Friday. There are 2 reading journals due in week 2 and 3. There's 2 chapters to be read this week. There's 2 chapters to be read and journals completed, 2 chapters to be read and journals completed. And then notice the last 7 weeks of the class, there's only 1 chapter. Okay, I do that so that it's heavy up front and easy in the backside. Okay, let's talk about discussion threads. This is very, very important. Okay, so each week you must post on at least 3 different days. Okay, so if it's your initial post is due by Wednesday, you have to at least post on Wednesday. If you post on Wednesday, then you need to post on Thursday and Friday. Don't post on Wednesday and Friday because you won't get full points. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I encourage you to start on Monday and get involved in the entire week's worth of discussion because that's really what a discussion is about, interaction between more than one person, right? If you post everything on Friday, you haven't discussed anything. You just answered a bunch of questions on Friday and it's of no value to anybody but you. And you may have something very, very important for the rest of this class to hear. So, a minimum of 3 days. Also note that there's an initial post due. That's post 1 in each thread. After that initial post is received, then you can go into the discussion forums and you can interact with your fellow students. Okay, that's numbers 2, 3, and 4. So a minimum of 4 are required. Now you can go more than that, okay, but a minimum of 4 is required, okay. Notice that you're graded on the quality response. Oh, I loved your answer is not a quality response, and it will not give you points, okay. So keep that in mind. They close at 6 o'clock on Friday, except for week 1, but you can read them throughout the weekend and know that you are graded on the percent that you read, okay. In the discussion, we saw a you be the prof discussion where you become the actual teacher. Okay, you're the expert. Okay, that comes from your reading journal. Notice here's a bunch of guidelines for your reading journal. I do not want an outline. No outlines. I want a reading journal. A journal is when you tell me your thoughts about something. What were the most important things to you as you read this chapter? What do you think is the most important things that you want to share with me in your reading journal? If you have a question that was raised during, that's a great thing to put in your You Be the Prof section. You're going to raise the question. You're going to initiate the discussion. Okay, so make sure, don't go print your reading journal in this discussion thread because I'm going to get all over your case. Just pose a question or pose a question about anything and we'll go from there. Okay, and then here's the information. You have 4 different topics you can choose from. I make this available to you now so you can start looking at it and working towards the end of the semester. I look forward to a great semester. If you have questions, call me, email me, text me, write me. Let's have a great semester. Let's attack this thing full force and let's conquer.